Hey there, how's it going? This is Grant Luna with Fidelity National Title. And in this video, I'll be showing you an easy way to find potential fixer properties, maybe on behalf of you or an investor client you're working with using Fidelity Total Farm. And if you don't have a Fidelity Total Farm account, there's an easy to follow setup guide in the description below. You can create an account and then follow along with this video. And so step one would be having a farm. So I have a bunch of farms in here. There's a link in the description for how to create a farm. If you don't know how to do so, it's pretty straightforward and you can have as many farms as you'd like in your account. But let's say I'm working on an investor client or with an investor client and they're looking for potential fixers in a specific farm area. So what I can do is navigate into a farm that I have pre-created. Maybe I create a farm around an entire MLS area, subdivision, etc. So I have one in here already called MLS Area 134, Old Torrance. All I have to do to enter that farm is click on the farm name itself. So now you'll be in this farm. You'll have this general menu here that includes the farm data. That's going to be owners' names, the property address that exists in the farm, a mailing address if that happens to be different than the property address that exists within the farm, a whole bunch of information about that property, when they bought it, what they bought it for, what the assessed value is, along with a bunch of ways to filter that data down to find homeowners or property types that you're looking for. In this case, if you're looking for potential fixers, we do have a filter built within Fidelity Total Farm that tries its best to find properties that could be renovated, could be flipped, etc. And that works by working with this top filter menu up at the top here. And it's helpful to keep track of the total number of properties versus the filtered down number just to have a sense of how this is working. So right now I'm looking at 2,582 records. This is the complete MLS area that I created a farm for. But let's say I wanted to find potential properties that are flippers. One way, obviously, you could do that is just drive the neighborhood. So drive around, look at the houses, keep track of the addresses you're looking at. But another way you could do that if you're trying to save time is go to farm filters here. And what you can do in this drop-down menu right here, where it says filters, is click here and then say renovate right here. And now this is going to filter down this farm for you. You can see it right here. This number has dramatically decreased, about half of what it was previously. And what this renovate filter is going to do is it's going to look at a couple of things. One is going to be the square footage of the property relative to the lot size of that property. So you might have a small property and a big lot, which makes it great for additions, building out, duplexes, ADUs, etc. So if you're looking to buy property, do some work on it and then flip it or just renovate it in general, you can do it that way. It also keeps track of the assessed value. So if you scroll over to the right here, it's going to be blurred out just for the sake of privacy, but you can look at the assessed value here and the land value. And a lot of the times, these are going to have a low assessed value relative to the current market value of that property. So that likely means these people have bought the home a long time ago. They likely haven't done a complete remodel or renovations, which a lot of the times when you do those renovations, you will trigger a reassessment of the property. The fact that these assessed values are a lot lower than the market value indicates that maybe not a lot of work has been done on these properties in a while. So it's a nice way to cut down that group. And now you're just looking at potential renovation properties for you and your client. They can start looking at and seeing if any of these are really good fixers for you or your client. And what I recommend doing is just creating a brand new farm with this farm. And so how you can do that is going to this share button right at the top right of the screen right here, going down to create, append a farm from current filter, clicking on that, and then just naming that. So I'll just name this Old Torrance Renovate Farm. And the reason for that will make a little bit more sense once we go into these property information pages for each of these addresses and move through these. That's kind of where creating a new farm is helpful. So now this farm has been created successfully. All you have to do now is select go to farm. This will take me to that farm. Now I have a new farm that is just entirely consisting of the Old Torrance properties that meet that renovate criteria. So now let's say I have this farm created. I want to go through and start looking at these and seeing which of these are flippers. All you need to do is select the site address right here for one of these properties. Next, you'll be brought into the property information page right here. It's going to have general property information such as the address. But what's nice is you can work with these tabs at the top here and I can click Street View. So now this is actually going to drop me in on the street view of this property. I can take a look at it and see, does this look like this property needs some work? If it does, I can keep note of it. I can even just call the person immediately or the property owner right then and there. I actually have this free public contact info search that I can click here, and this is going to take me to a fast people search result page, which is going to have the names associated with that property and the phone numbers associated with those names. And that's going to be free for you, and it's going to be available for each of these addresses. So it makes it really easy to work with. So I can click that, make the call, and let's say this isn't a flipper. Now I want to move to the next one. All I have to do is click next property, acting as if I'm driving this neighborhood, looking at all these things, and this is going to drop me right in on the street view. Now I can take a look at this property, do the same thing over and over and over. I can do this for every farm area that exists. Take a look, have these names written down, and call these people if needed. You will notice that sometimes if you get to the end of a particular page, so for example, if I go back here, and right now it's showing 10 results right here. So let's say I go to this 10th address. Once I'm in here, you'll see that this is actually grayed out. It's no longer letting me go to that next property. That's just because I've hit the bottom of that results page. So what I can do is press back, and I can go to the second page here, and now start from the top again, and then start working through that property information page. A second really easy way to find potential fixer properties in the neighborhood is just going to create a farm up at the top of the page here. Then just selecting continue, I'll be dropped in over a map wherever it tends to be for you. And let's say I wanted to go through a particular neighborhood, but maybe didn't want to have to create a farm. The nice thing is I can actually click Satellite right here, and I can zoom way into the properties here. And what I can do now is actually have somewhat of a nice aerial view of that property. So I can take a look at the backyards of that property, the front yards. I can get a general sense of the quality of that property if it's looking old. And I think this map is pretty recent, so it can work with. So I can see a property like this. I might think, okay, this property clearly looks like it needs some work. Let's say I did want to create a farm for that property. I can just go ahead and start clicking, find that property information, create a farm just from this property here. This is going to tell me it's one property. I can select continue, create a farm from that property, and start moving forward. So this is another way if you're just looking at different areas and you just wanted to kind of do the work of driving around without actually having to drive around. This is a great way to get a good sense of the front of a house, the back of a house, the general neighborhood as well. Clicking the satellite view, and I believe this is going to be pretty recent. It's tied into something like Google Maps, which I'm sure they're updating these fairly frequently. So this is another nice way to look for potential fixers in a farm area of your choosing. So if you have any questions about how any of this works, feel free to leave a comment under the video. I'm happy to answer that. Or if you have other questions about how Fidelity National Title products can be a fit in your business and help you and your business grow moving forward, feel free to reach out to me at grantlunafidelity@gmail.com. Send me a quick email. We can hop on a Zoom, meet in person, and then find a way to make it work. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.